Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning. I'll wait for a few minutes. Still few students yet to come. That's why wait for a few minutes and then I'll start the sessions.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay guys, good morning once again and then now I'll start the session. For people that please all of you be ready for the attendance. Attendance को लागि ready हो. Okay, Alex, Mr. Archana,
Present, sir.
Ashish, Parajuli, Dipesh, Dulal, Van,
Yes, sir.
Raju,
Yes, sir.
Marina, Shrest, Ninju Thapa, Shan, Ojashvi,
Present, sir.
Prakirti,
Present, sir.
Prashamsha, Praveen,
Present, sir.
Raman, Ratna,
Present, sir.
Ravishan,
Present, sir.
Ritij,
Present, sir.
Yuvaj,
Yes, sir.
रोनिम, सक्षम, सेलिना, शरिश्मा, शेखर, स्मिथ, Shuru,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dinesh. Okay. Name of absentees, eh? Prasamsa Sibal absent.
Someone pay
Anju Thapa absent. तिमी के भन्नु त?
यसो प्रेजेन्ट बनाए
तिमीलाई के भन्नु न? उमेश प्रेजेन्ट छ तिमी?
हजुर हजुर
ओके. एब्सेन्टहरू हेर है, आशिष पराजुली, दिपेश दुलाल, इन्जु प्रशंसा. कोही छ यिनीहरू? ओके ल. एक्ज्याक्टली अब हाम्रो एटेन्डेन्स भइसक्यो. अब हामी मल्टिप्लायर मोडल पर्छ. लास्ट क्लास अल्सो वी डिस्कस अबाउट द्याट मल्टिप्लायर मोडल. मल्टिप्लायर मोडलको बारेमा मैले एक्जाम्पल दिएको थिएँ नि, याद छ सबैजनालाई? यु नो द एक्जाम्पल अफ मल्टिप्लायर मोडल. मैले कुनै एउटा रोड बनाएको थियो भनेदेखि गभर्मेन्टले रोड बनाउँछ अनि गभर्मेन्टले थोरै इन्भेस्टमेन्ट गर्छ नि होइन, रोड बनाउँदा इन्भेस्टमेन्ट हुन्छ. अनि फेरि अर्को ह्युज इन्भेस्टमेन्ट प्राइभेट सेक्टरले गर्छ. किन भन्दा प्राइभेट सेक्टरले गाडी किनेर हाल्छ फेरि. अनि सेकेन्ड कुरा के हुन्छ, अब गाडी हालिदिन्छ प्राइभेट सेक्टरले. अनि थर्ड कुरा, प्राइभेट सेक्टरले जब गाडी हाल्छ अनि त्यस पछाडि के हुन्छ त, अब प्राइभेट सेक्टरले ल गाडी भन्छ अनि हालिदिन्छ. अनि त्यस पछाडि गाडी कुद्न थालेपछि अरू प्राइभेट सेक्टरले फेरि होटलहरू खुल्न थाल्छ, चिया पसल खुल्न थाल्छ. यसले गर्दा के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि इन्कम जेनेरेट हुन्छ, इम्प्लोइमेन्ट क्रिएट हुन्छ. यस्तरी नै स्लोली एन्ड ग्रेजुअली यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ, मल्टिप्लायर मोडल भन्छ कि. दिस इज द केस. ओके, जस्तो जहाँ पनि के दिस वान इज मल्टिप्लायर मोडल. सी, अब चाहिँ हामी स्लाइडबाट जाउँ हुन्छ. स्लाइडबाट जाउँ, कसरी बुझ्छ त्यहाँबाट हेरौँला अनि बाँकी हामी कुरा गरौँला है त. ओके, नाउ द मल्टिप्लायर मोडल है. ओके, a question arises by how much does a ₹1 increases in autonomous spending raise the equilibrium level of income. भनेको ₹1 खर्च गर्यो भने इन्कम कति बढ्छ कि थाहा छ नि. यु नो द्याट यु अलरेडी स्टडी द्याट 1 person's expenditure is another person's income. एकजनाको खर्च भने के हो त, अर्कोको पनि आम्दानी हो कि फेरि. भनेपछि 1 person's expenditure is another person's income. यही कुरा गर्न खोज्दा raise the equilibrium level of income. In other words, we want to know the magnitude of change in equilibrium GDP as the result of the change in aggregate expenditure. See, a simple answer may be, since an equilibrium income equals aggregate demand, it would seem that $1 increases in autonomous demand or spending should raise the equilibrium income by ₹1, but this is wrong. See, suppose first that output increase by 1 to match the increase level of autonomous business. This increase in output income would down give rise to the further induced spending. Its consumption rises because the level of income has risen. Because this is the process. Okay? जस्तो हामीले ₹1 चाहिँ के आउटपुट कि सपोज द्याट द आउटपुट इन्क्रिज बाय, कसैको इन्कम ₹1 बढ्यो भने के हुन्छ, टु म्याच द इन्क्रिज लेभल अफ अटोनोमस इन्भेस्टिङ. अब हामी के भन्छ, दिस इन्क्रिज द आउटपुट. त्यसले फेरि इन्क्रिज आउटपुट भयो भने हाम्रो इन्कम बढ्छ अनि अगेन हामी त्यसलाई के गर्छ, सेभिङ बढाउँछ अनि कन्जम्सन बढाउँछ अनि फेरि हामी के गर्छ इन्कम बढाउँछ दिस इज द प्रोसिजर त्यसो यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ मल्टिप्लायर मोडल भन्छ भनेको इन्कम बढ्नु भनेको सेभिङ बढ्ने कन्जम्सन बढ्ने अनि फेरि त्यो कन्जम्सन के हुन्छ जस्तै मेरो कन्जम्सन भनेको अर्कोको इन्कम हो होइन र अनि उसको इन्कम बढ्छ त्यहाँबाट अर्कोको इन्कम बढ्छ फाइनली के हुन्छ जिडिपीमा नि कन्ट्रिब्युसन हुन्छ कि जिडिपीमा नि चेन्ज हुन्छ यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ मल्टिप्लायर मोडल भन्छ नाउ सी अगेन फेरि हेरिदियो how much does a ₹1 initial increase in income would be spent on consumption? Out of this, a fraction B is consumed, and you consume that the production increases. Further, to meet induced expenditure, output and income increased by the 1 plus B. भनेको यो B भनेको राजा कन्जम्सन हो कि भनेको मार्जिनल प्रोपेन्सिटी टु कन्ज्युम त्यही भएर हाम्रो 1 प्लस बी भनेको 1 प्लस कन्जम्सन हुन्छ होइन दिस विल अगेन क्रिएट एन एक्सेस डिमान्ड किन भन्दाखेरि हामीले यहाँ के गर्न खोजिरहेको छ राजा मल्टिप्लायर मोडल के इज इक्वल टु 1/1 माइनस बी हुन्छ कि यसको फर्मुला होइन 1/1 माइनस बी यसलाई हामी के भन्छ यसरी 1 प्लस बी यसरी यो बेसमा हामीले 1 भनेको हामी इन्कम भन्छ प्लस कन्जम्सन आउटपुट एन्ड इन्कम इन्क्रिज बाई 1 प्लस बी भनेको 1 लाई हामीले सिङ्गल के भन्छ इन्कम रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्ने हो कि तिमी 100% भनेको 1 भन्न खोज्या कि 50% भनेको 0.5 भन्न खोज्या त्यस पछाडि प्लस बीले इन्क्रिज भइरहेको बुझ्यो होइन तिमीले This will again create an excess demand because the expansion in production and income by 1 plus B will give rise to further induced spending. This process goes on like this and explained by the multiplier model. यही 1 plus B ले जुन इन्कम बढ्छ कन्जम्सन बढ्छ फर्दर इन्कम बढ्छ यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ मल्टिप्लायर मोडल Multiplier analysis is an important tool of income expansion and business cycle analysis. वास्तवमा यो मल्टिप्लायर एनालाइसिस के को लागि छ भन्दाखेरि इन्कमको एक्सपान्सन र बिजनेस साइकल एनालिसिसको लागि इट्स भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट टुल फर द बिजनेस साइकल एनालिसिस हो कि हामीलाई यस्तै बुझ्नुपर्ने हुन्छ बुझ्यो होइन यो भनेको मल्टिप्लायर मोडल सिम्पल किन युज हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा अब यहाँदेखि हामी हेर्दै जान्छ लेख्ने खालको कुराहरू चाहिँ अहिलेसम्म मैले अघि एक्जाम्पल बनाएको थिएँ ब्याकग्राउन्डको कुरा गरिरहेको थिएँ अब यहाँ अलिकति हेर मल्टिप्लायर इज द रेसियो अफ चेन्ज इन जिडिपी टु द चेन्ज इन एक्सपेन्डिचर चेन्ज इन जिडिपी भनेको चेन्ज इन इन्कम हो क्या डेल्टा वाई चेन्ज इन एक्सपेन्डिचर होइन यस्तै जाने एन्ड इट इज अल्सो डिफाइन एज द रेसियो अफ फाइनल चेन्ज इन इन्कम टु द फाइनल चेन्ज इन अटोनोमस एक्सपेन्डिचर See, that is delta A, and delta I stands for an increase in autonomous expenditure, and this could be an increase in investment or autonomous component of the investment. Change in autonomous investment expenditure भनेको investment रहेछ के thus the multiplier can be written as K is equal to delta Y by delta I भन्न मिल्छ के delta A भनेको मतलब अनि के इज मल्टिप्लायर डेल्टा वाई भनेको चेन्ज इन जिडिपी भनेको त हामी इन्कम हो नि इन्कम भनेको के रहेछ म्याक्रो इकोनोमिक्स हो हियर वी आर रिडिङ म्याक्रो इकोनोमिक्स एन्ड म्याक्रो इकोनोमिक्समा जिडिपी इन्कम भनेकै नेसनल इन्कम हो त्यसलाई हामीले वाईले रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्छ त्यही भएर डेल्टा वाई लेख्या हो अनि डेल्टा ए बार भनेको चाहिँ के चेन्ज इन अटोनोमस एक्सपेन्डिचरको कुरा भने The dynamic multiplier process is known in the following table. हामी जो इन्कम कसरी बढ्छ के हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ हामीले यो प्रोसेसले हेराउँछ क्या वान स्टेपमा यति इन्कम यो के भयो इन्क्रिज इन डिमान्ड होइन दिस राउन्डमा डेल्टा आईले अटोनोमस एक्सपेन्डिचर चेन्ज भयो भने सेकेन्ड राउन्डमा यो हुन्छ सेकेन्डमा यस्तरी भयो अब टोटलमा पनि यस्तरी नै भयो तर सेकेन्ड राउन्डमा के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि बी डेल्टा एले बढ्यो अनि बी स्क्वायर डेल्टा ए थर्ड राउन्डमा बी क्युब फोर्थ राउन्डमा अनि यो पनि बी डेल्टा ए अनि 1 प्लस बी डेल्टा ए होइन यसरी 1 प्लस बी स्क्वायर हो यस्तै हामी बढ्दै जान्छ यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ मल्टिप्लायर प्रोसेस भन्छ कि यो प्रोसेसबाट पढ्छ यो हेर्नु पर्दैन टेबल चाहिँ यसो बुझ्यो भने बुझ्यो बुझेन भने छोड्यो है त्यसरी नै हामीले यो भन्न खोजेको कन्क्लुजन चाहिँ के हो भन्दाखेरि टेबल बनाउनु पर्दैन है एक्जाममा जस्ट कन्सेप्ट लेखिदियो अनि फर्मुला लेखिदियो अनि भइहाल्छ फेरि त्यस पछाडि अर्को हेर न इक्वेसनमा हामीले यही कुरामा डेल्टा एडी भनेको एग्रिगेट डिमान्ड चेन्ज इन एग्रिगेट डिमान्ड भनेको 1 + b + b² + b की प्लस अनि डेल्टा ए भनेको अटोनोमस स्पेन्डिङको कुरा भयो फलोइङ द रोल अफ जियोमेट्रिक सिरिज सिम्प्लिफाई यसलाई हामी जियोमेट्रिक सिरिजमा सिम्प्लिफाई गर्दाखेरि हामीले के गर्छ 1/1 - b इन्टु डेल्टा ए भन्छ कि यसरी पनि राख्नु मिल्छ दिस इज द सिम्पल प्रोसिजर अब मल्टिप्लायरमा हैन यु शुड नोट दैट द 1 - b इज द मार्जिनल प्रोपेन्सिटी टु सेभ हुन्छ and thus the multiplier in other words is the reciprocal of MPS भनेको k is equal to 1/1 - b भन्यो भने डाइरेक्टली मल्टिप्लायर को फर्मुला बनाउनुहुन्छ कन्जम्पसनको लाई भनेको के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि कन्जम्पसन भन्दा एमपीसी हो 1/1 - एमपीसी भयो अनि एमपीएस भनेको चाहिँ के भयो त भन्दाखेरि त्यसरी नै हामी जान्यौ के एमपीएस को कुरा It should also be understood that the multiplier effect occurs when one person's spending becomes someone else's income. मैले अघि भनेको थिएँ नि one person's expenditure is another person's income. यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ another person's income है त्यसलाई नै हामी यसरी भन्छ जान्छ is subsequently spent and becoming the income of third person and so on. Discuss an example where MPC is 0.5 and autonomous expenditure is 10,000 and what is the final income? See, value राख्यो त फाइनल इन्कम कति हुन्छ रे अब हामीले हेर्ने जस्तो सीधा दिस इज द प्रोसेस जस्तो कन्जम्पसन इज 0.5 ले भयो इन्कम चाहिँ यहाँबाट थोरै चेन्ज भयो तर इन्भेस्टमेन्टले अझै इन्भेस्टमेन्ट बढ्यो भने के भयो इन्कम पनि यस्तै धेरै बढ्यो के भनेको स्मल चेन्ज इन इन्भेस्टमेन्ट लिड्स टु हायर चेन्ज इन इन्कम थोरै इन्भेस्टमेन्टमा चेन्ज हुँदा पनि धेरै इन्कममा चेन्ज हुन्छ भने त्यसलाई हामी के भन्छ मल्टिप्लायर इफेक्ट भन्छ कि सी द फिगर भनेपछि हामीले मैले यत्रो बुझाउन मात्र गरेँ है मल्टिप्लायरमा डेफिनेसन लेखिदियो अनि फर्मुला लेखिदियो थोरै अनि यो फिगर बनाइदियो के न त्यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ मल्टिप्लायर इफेक्ट भन्छ बुझ्यो यहाँसम्म सबैजनाले उमेश अर्चना भन्न बुझ्यो बुझ्दैछ है ओके Okay, but these are the assumptions. Multiplier matter, the basic assumption of the above mentioned multiplier basic assumption principle for two sector economy. There are no change in margin MPC ko kura hunu paryo. There is no induced investment ko kura. No high level of investment ko kura. The output of consumer goods is responsive to effective demand ko kura. There is complete absence of government. हामी गभर्नमेन्टको इन्टरभेन्सनलाई हामी हुँदैन भन्ने कुरा एज्युम गर्छ देयर इज क्लोज इकोनोमी हैन दिज आर द रिजन्स के यसरी भन्नु अब न लिकेजेज एन्ड इन्जेक्सन अफ इकोनोमी लिकेजेज भने के इन्जेक्सन भने के ल आफै भन त लिकेजेज भनेको के हुने रहेछ लिकेजेज अफ मल्टिप्लायर भनेको पहिला कुरा के भन्दा लिकेज भने के भन त पहिला हामीले बुझ्ने नर्मली ओल्लो घरबाट पल्लो घर हामीले पाइप लाइनबाट पानी ल्यायो भने त्यो पाइपमा कहीँ से धुलो परेर पानी निक्ल्यो भने के भयो द्याट्स द लिकेज हो र त्यो पाइपमा हामीले अर्को ठाउँबाट इन्जेक्ट गर्यो केही पानी थप्दियो अर्को पनि पाइप जोडेर थप्दियो भने के भयो इट्स अ इन्जेक्सन भनेपछि यही हो क्या इन्जेक्सन एन्ड लिकेजेस भने अब के हुन्छ त हाम्रो यहाँनिर लिकेजेस के वास्तवमा इन्भेस्टमेन्ट भयो भने इन्कम बढ्छ हामीले त्यही पढिरहेछ हेर भनेपछि जे कुरा इन्भेस्टमेन्ट हुँदैन नि त्यही कुरा लिकेजेज हो के अनि जे कुरा हामीले इन्भेस्टमेन्ट भनेर इन्भेस्टमेन्ट गर्छ त्यो चाहिँ हाम्रो इकोनोमीको लागि चाहिँ इन्जेक्सन भयो के र बुझ्यो कुरा सबैजनाले प्रवीण बुझिरहेछ what do you mean by leakages and what do you mean by injection को कुरा
हजुर सर चुवाबाट
yes त्यही मात्र कुराहरू हो अब नाउ के रहेछ त what are the leakages of our multiplier see go to the slides मा जाऊ household receive income in terms of factor payments the household's income is divided into 4 components consumption demand tax to the government हैन अनि त्यसपछि के हुन्छ यस्तो कुराहरू हुन्छ अनि अर्को कुरा के त टोटल हाउसहोल्ड इन्कम that is not used for consumption demand is called the leakages or withdrawal त्यही कुरा अब now here leakages equals to net saving plus net taxes plus import expenditure saving is the difference between disposable income and consumption भनेको फर्स्ट वान सेभिङ पनि हाम्रो लिकेजेज हुन्छ जेनरली we know that हैन सेभिङ भनेको के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि सेभिङलाई हामीले कसरी लिन्छ थाहा छ जेनरली सेभिङ भनेको के हुन्छ अलवेज इक्वल्स विथ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट हुन्छ बट इन सम अफ द केस सेभिङ विच इज नट इक्वल विथ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट हुन्छ हो यसलाई चाहिँ हामी के भन्छ त लिकेजेस भन्छ ट्याक्सेसको कुरा भएर गभर्मेन्टको ट्याक्स इम्पोज हाई गर्यो भने पनि यो के हुन्छ लिकेजेस हो नि धनी मान्छेले ट्याक्स नतिरेको भए के हुन्थ्यो उनीहरूले त्यो कुरा खर्च इन्भेस्टमेन्ट गर्थ्यो नयाँ फ्याक्ट्री खोल्थ्यो त्यहाँ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट गर्थ्यो त्यहाँ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट गर्नु भनेको केहीले सर्टेन पिपुलले जब पाउँथ्यो हेर होइन र त्यहाँ जब पाउनु भने के त अब त्यहाँनिर जब पाउँथ्यो जब पाइसकेपछि के हुन्छ होइन यस्तो खालको केस हो कि यो भन्दा जब पाउँछ जब पाइसकेपछि उसको इन्कम बढ्छ होइन तर अब के हुन्छ गभर्मेन्टले सुरुमै ट्याक्स लगाइदियो भने हामीले पो थोरै थोरै हुन्छ त्यहाँ त रिचेस्ट पिपुलहरूले त करोडौँ अरबौँ रुपियाँ पैसा ट्याक्स तिर्छन् होइन र त्यो भएको भए त के हुन्छ धेरै मान्छेले इम्प्लोइमेन्ट पाउँछ द्याट्स द केस है यसरी हामी बुझ्दै जानुपर्छ यही लिकेजेसको कुराहरू भनेको देखेँ यो 2 सेक्टरमा हेर न नेट सेभिङ भयो 3 सेक्टरमा सेभिङ प्लस गभर्मेन्ट ट्याक्सको कुरा आयो अनि 4 सेक्टरमा सेभिङ प्लस ट्याक्स प्लस इम्पोर्टको कुराहरू यही भयो क्या इन एडिसन लिकेजेस क्यान अल्सो रिजल्ट फ्रम द डेप्ट इन्फ्लेसन होर्डिङ होइन यो के भन्छ पर्चेज अफ स्टक एन्ड सेक्युरिटिज सेयर मार्केटमा हामीले इन्भेस्टमेन्ट गर्नु भनेको इट इज अल्सो लिकेजेस हो यो पनि लिकेजेस त्यो बुझी चाहिँ यहाँसम्म यसरी बुझ्दै जानुपर्छ काम नाउ सी यसलाई नै हामी के भन्छ लिकेजेसको कुरा गरौँ बुझ्यो होइन पहिला त 3-4 कुरा लिकेजेस हेर्नु त्योदेखि बाहेक होर्डिङ पनि भयो इन्फ्लेसन पनि भयो होइन यिनीहरू भनेको डेप्ट पनि भयो अनि पर्चेज एन्ड सेल अफ ओल्ड सेयर्स एन्ड सेक्युरिटिज हेर्नेलाई बुझ्ने ल्याङ्ग्वेजमा यसरी पनि भन्न सक्छु दिस अल आर के भन्छ लिकेजेस अफ मल्टिप्लायर ओके नाउ इन्जेक्सनमा हेर न इन्जेक्सनमा के इन्जेक्सन हुन्छ त इकोनोमीमा भन्दा 2 सेक्टरमा इन्भेस्टमेन्ट हुन्छ 3 सेक्टरको होइन हेर यहीबाट बुझिहाल्छ 3 सेक्टरमा इन्भेस्टमेन्ट प्लस गभर्मेन्ट एक्सपेन्डिचर भनेको इन्भेस्टमेन्ट गरेको पनि इन्जेक्सन भयो गभर्मेन्टले धेरै खर्च गरेको पनि इन्जेक्सन भयो होइन अनि हामीले के गर्यो एक्सपोर्ट गर्यो भने पनि इन्जेक्ट हुन्छ कि द्याट्स वाइ यो चाहिँ कस्तो भन्दाखेरि इकोनोमीको इन्जेक्सनहरू भयो कि यिनीहरू द्याट्स वाइ यो कारणले पनि यो बेसमा पनि के भयो त भन्दाखेरि इन्जेक्सन एकदम इम्पोर्टेन्ट कुरा Okay, after that we completed the multiplier principles. के बुझ्यो यहाँसम्म अब त्यसैलाई धेरै केही लेख्नु पर्दैन, इन्भेस्टमेन्ट लेखिदियो, सरी मल्टिप्लायरको डेफिनेसन लेखिदियो, एउटा फर्मुला लेख, एजम्पसन्स लेखिदियो, फिगर बनाऊ, अनि त्यस पछाडि के लेख, लिकेजेस लेखिदियो, अनि इन्जेक्सन लेखिदियो। ल यति भयो त हाम्रो मल्टिप्लायर सिकिहाल्यो। गर्न सक्छ? मैले तिमीलाई पर्सि असाइनमेन्ट दिँदाखेरि दिउँ, हुन्छ? सक्छ है अर्चना?
सक्छ सर।
ओके ल। After that we completed this chapter. यो च्याप्टर हामीले कम्प्लिट गर्यो। बुझ्यो कि बुझेन त? ओके, हामीले यो च्याप्टर कम्प्लिट गर्यो। केही छ भने सोध, नत्र भनेदेखि म अलिकति अर्को स्लाइड्स अपलोड गर्छु। त्यो टाइमसम्ममा ल ओके अल अफ यु प्लिज युल गेट द 5 मिनट्स ब्रेक है। 5 मिनट्स ब्रेकमा जाउँ, अनि म के गर्छु अर्को स्लाइड्सहरू अपलोड गरेर रेडी हुँदै गर्छु है त। ल
ओके सर।
है, ओके। ओके एउटा कुरा हेर्दा त सबैजनाले मैले यो स्लाइड छैन हाम्रो आइलनमा राखिदिइसकेको छु चेक गर त वान्स चेक द स्लाइड्स आइगएन anyone please check the slides please थोरै हेऱ्यो निशान मरिना Ojeshwi Praveen check the slides Archana आएको छ कि छैन सबै ब्रेकमै हो कतै को बोल्दैन प्रवीण आरुद्या
Yes, sir.
it is
Got it.
yes
Right, sir.
ICQ पायो अर्चना
Oh, sir, chapter 4 वाला है ना?
च्याप्टर 4 वाला यस मैले यो पल्टदेखि चाहिँ सबै स्लाइड्सहरू जुन जुन छ त्यही राख्दिन थाले के त्यो भएर ल अबको टपिक्स एकदम रमाइलो टपिक्स है आजको टपिक्स हामी धेरै त जाँदैन थोरै थोरै जान्छ आज हामी अलिक धेरै डिस्कसनमा कुरा गर्छ थोरै जान्छ अनि हामी नेक्स्ट विकदेखि यसलाई हामी डिटेलमा जान्छ हामी च्याप्टर 4 बाट ओके मनी एन्ड ब्याङ्किङ के हो मनी भने के भन त ल अब वाट डु मिन बाई मनी भन्नु सबैजनासँग छ होला सबैजनालाई थाहा छ मनी भने के ओके अब त्यसो भने डिफाइन मनी मनी के हो ल भन के हो सक्षम ओके प्रब्लम यस
ट्रस्टेड बिल
वाट इज
इस्युड बाई यस्ता खालको बिल हो जसले चाहिँ कोही इन्टिटीले चाहिँ ट्रस्टेड गरेर प्रिन्ट गराएको कुरालाई मनी भन्छ
ओके गुड British what is money
uh, a medium of exchange.
yes medium of exchange very good hey okay Shalina what is money Shalina are you there what is money money बनेगी Saksham what is money Shekhar I think Shekhar know the money money बनेगी Shekhar Shainala Jeju what is money can you define money Alex can you define okay ल कसैलाई एनीवन कोही छ भनिहाल ल मनी भनेको अझै कसैलाई डिफ्रेन्ट भयो तर प्रवीणले भने र ऋतिजले भने बोथ द आन्सर्स आर करेक्ट है दुईटै अप्रोच राइट है फेरि अहिलेसम्म जस्तो अब म के भन्छु ल मनीको बारेमा है मनी इज द्याट वाट मनी डज इट इज मनी मनी भने के रहेछ त मनी इज द्याट वाट मनी डज मनी क्लियर न सबैजना बुझ्यो money is that what money does yes another definition here is anything which is declared by the government as a money it becomes money government ले चाहिँ यो चाहिँ पैसा हो भनेर जे कुरा डिटरमाइन गर्छ नि त्यही नै पैसा हुन्छ रे वास्तवमा anything which is determined by the
सर त्यो गभर्मेन्टले तोकेको कुरा त सेन्ट्रलाइजबाट हुन्छ अरे होइन, सेन्ट्रलाइज गरेको मनीलाई चाहिँ सेन्ट्रलाइज भन्यो है। अहिले डिसेन्ट्रलाइज गरेर टाइप पनि मनी आउँछ भन्छ नि, त्यसलाई त गभर्मेन्टले होल्ड गरेको त हुँदैन, पब्लिकले गरेको हुन्छ। अनि त्यसलाई
भनेको होइन, मैले अहिले त्यो भन्ने भन्दा पनि जस्ट मनी मात्र भनिरहेको छु क्या, जेबाट गए पनि कुरो चाहिँ बुझ्न पर्दैन अहिले मैले। अब यसमा पनि त तिम्रो थुप्रै कुरा छ। आज हामी हेर बाटो सिस्टमको कुरा गर्छ होइन, त्यसमा न्यारो मनीको कुरा गर्छ, ब्रोड मनीको कुरा गर्छ, थुप्रै कुराहरू छ के कन्सेप्ट छ। मैले जस्ट के मात्र भनिरहेको छु तिमीलाई भन्दाखेरि वाट एक्ज्याक्टली द मनी इज, त्यो डिस्कसन गर्न खोजेँ। के लाग्छ त मनीमा होइन, सबैजनासँग छ नभई नहुने कुरा होइन र। त्यही भएर मैले भने क्या, इट्स भेरी सिम्पल डेफिनेसन, मनी इज द्याट वाट मनी डज, द्याट्स द मनी। अर्को डेफिनेसनले के भन्छ, एनिथिङ विच इज डिक्लेयर बाई द गभर्मेन्ट एज अ मनी इट बिकम्स मनी भन्न खोज्या। कहिलेकाहीँ गभर्मेन्टले हेर न हामीलाई के भनिरहेको हुन्छ, यो पैसा हो है भन्छ, प्लास्टिकको नोट दियो हामीले हो भनेर चलायो, कागजको दियो हो भनेर चलायो, हो कि न पहिला भन्नु न होइन। गभर्मेन्टले कहिले 250 को नोट हो भनेर दियो चलायो, हामीले त्यही चलायो, होइन भन्यो त्यही चलायो, होइन र पहिला फेरि नचल्ने भने। कहिले सेतो खालको कोइन दियो हामीले चलायो, कहिले रातो कोइन दियो हामीले चलायो, चलाएर भनौँ न त। भनेपछि द्याट डेफिनेसन इज अल्सो करेक्ट के, एनिथिङ विच इज डिक्लेयर बाई द गभर्मेन्ट एज अ मनी इट बिकम्स मनी, हो कि न रहेछ आफै पनि। अब नेक्स्ट डेफिनेसन, अर्को डेफिनेसन चाहिँ के हुन्छ थाहा छ फेरि, अर्को डेफिनेसनमा मेरो विचारमा इट्स फ्रम माई पोइन्ट अफ भ्यू, मनी इज नट लाइक अ गड बट नट लेस देन गड, त्यस्तो लाग्छ लाग्दैन मलाई। मनी इज नट लाइक अ गड बट नट लेस देन गड। फेसबुक स्ट्याटस लेख्ने होइन नि फेरि आज अहिले, बुझ्यो नि। त्यस्तो लाग्छ लाग्दैन हेर त्यसलाई, पैसा भने के रहेछ त, भगवान होइन तर भगवानभन्दा कम पनि छैन क्या हो के न भन्नु ल। पैसा के रहेछ, भगवान त होइन तर भगवानभन्दा कम पनि छैन क्या, इट्स मनी। आइडिया भयो केही? नाउ सी द्याट, सी द लाइन, यो हेर त, यो लाइन कति राम्रो छ। इफ मनी वे टु ग्रो अन ट्रिज एभ्रिबडी वुड बी डिलिङ इन द बानानास। यदि पैसा रुखमा फल्ने भएको भए के हुन्थ्यो? हेर त अनदर स्टेटमेन्ट ल, तिमीलाई आज इन्स्टाको स्ट्याटस हाल्न मिल्ने भएछ ल, फेसबुकमा, इन्स्टाग्राममा, ट्विटमा होइन। इफ मनी वे टु ग्रो अन ट्रिज एभ्रिबडी वुड बी डिलिङ इन बानानास। यही केस हो मनी एन्ड ब्याङ्किङ। ठिक छ यहाँसम्म?
पिपलको पातमा बढी पात हुन्छ होइन र सर, केराको पातमा भन्दा त
त्यही भने अब न त भने ल के भनौँ न, एभ्रिबडी वुड बी डिलिङ विथ बानाना। यदि रुखमा फल्ने भए, मैले फ्रुट्सलाई तिमीलाई यहाँ गर्न खोजेँ, ट्री भन्दा पनि त्यो लिफ भन्दा पनि रुखमा फल्ने रहेछ त, ल भन त पैसा। यदि पैसा रुखमा फलेको भए के हुन्थ्यो त हामी? बानानास भन्नको मतलब बानाना जस्तै कुनै अरू जुनसुकै फ्रुटहरू पनि हामी फ्रुट्सहरू जस्तो देखिन्छ, अथवा पैसा फल्ने रुख जुन हुन्थ्यो सबैले त्यही कुरा गर्थ्यो होला होइन। चाहिँ सिम्बोलिकली मैले बानानास भने ओके। Now you got the idea, eh? If money were to grow on trees, everybody would be dealing in bananas. Yes. These are the cases. Now see. अब त अलिकति बुझ्यो होला नि, बुझेन? ओके, अब हामी स्लाइड्समा हेरौँ। Money is something which is generally accepted as a medium of exchange. Yes. अघि रितिजले भनेको डेफिनेसन जस्तो मनी भनेको यस्तै के, something which is generally accepted as a medium of exchange, यही हो कि मनी। But before money came into existence, exchange took place through barter system. वास्तवमा थाहा छ barter सिस्टमबाट चल्छ अरे क्या हाम्रो यो एक्सचेन्ज रेट. Barter occurs, barter भनेको के छ? When people directly exchange their goods for someone else's goods. भनेको एउटा सामान लिएर अर्काको सामान लिनु, यही हो त्यो barter system. हैन? मैले अस्ति पनि एक दिन कहिले एक्जाम्पल दिएको थिएँ नि. बाटो सिस्टम भएको भए के हुन्थ्यो? मेबी काउ चाहिँ मनी थियो भने के हुन्थ्यो? तिम्रो कलेजको फी तिर्नलाई पनि गाई डोर्याउँदै ल्याउँथ्यो होला क्या. अनि हामी स्यालेरी लिएर जाँदा पनि गाई नै लिएर जानु पर्थ्यो हैन, अर्को गाई. सिधा कन्डिसन हैन, यस्तो छ के केस. बुझ्यो हैन कुरा? The barter system had certain advantages. Simple and reduce the complexities of the modern monetary system. पहिला कुरा त के simple and reduce the complexity of the modern monetary system. वास्तवमा बाटर सिस्टमको सर्टेन एडभान्टेजमा मोडर्न मोनिटरी सिस्टमको धेरै कम्प्लेक्सिटिजहरू छ क्या. मनी सप्लाईको कुरा भयो, ब्रोड मनीको कुरा, न्यारो मनीको कुरा, मनी मल्टिप्लायरको कुरा, हाई पावर मनीको कुरा, वास्तवमा थुप्रै कन्सेप्टहरू कम्प्लेक्सिटी छ. तर के हुन्छ? इट रिड्युसेस दिस अल द कम्प्लेक्सिटिज. अर्को, देयर इज नो क्वेसन अफ ओभर एन्ड अन्डर प्रोडक्सन. हाम्रो प्रोडक्सन धेरै भयो, बिकेन, अथवा थोरै भयो, यस्तो केही क्वेसनै हुँदैन थियो कि. देयर इज नो क्वेसन अफ ओभर प्रोडक्सन एन्ड अन्डर प्रोडक्सन. यो पनि प्रब्लमै हुने थियो. अनि अर्को, द प्रब्लम अफ इन्टरनेसनल ट्रेड लाइक एक्सचेन्ज रेट क्राइसिस, एडभर्स बिओपी डु नट अकर इन द बाटर सिस्टम. भनेको ब्यालेन्स अफ पेमेन्ट, अनफेभरेबल ब्यालेन्स अफ पेमेन्टको कुरा हैन, फरेन एक्सचेन्जको क्राइसिसको कुरा के पनि हुने थिएन. किन? फरेन एक्सचेन्ज चाहिँदै हाम्रो सबै कुरा त्यहीँ वरिपरि एक्सचेन्ज गर्ने. देयर इज नो प्रब्लम अफ कन्सन्ट्रेसन अफ इकोनोमिक पावर इन द ह्यान्ड्स अफ फ्यु सिन्स थिङ्स क्यान नट बी स्टोर फर लङ. भनेको कोही मान्छे पनि एकदम धनी हुने थिएन कि. धेरै जस्तो, किनभने कोही धनी हुन खोज्यो भने धेरैपल्ट गाईहरू यस्तो थिङ्सहरू स्टोर गर्न थाल्यो भने कहिले मर्दियो भने के हुन्छ? अघिल्लो दिनको करोडपति भोलिपल्ट रोडपति हुन्थ्यो क्या. यस्तो खालको प्रब्लमहरू छ कि, यस्तो खालको एडभान्टेजेसहरू के भने दिज आर द सिचुएसन फर द के भयो यहाँसम्मको कुरा. अब नाउ डिफिकल्टिज सी द्याट के हुन्छ त? बाटर सिस्टमको डिफिकल्टिज के रहेछ त? ल, ल्याक अफ डबल कोइन्सिडेन्स अफ वान्ट्स, एब्सेन्स अफ कमन मेजर अफ भ्यालु, ल्याक अफ डिभिजिबिलिटी. ल्याक अफ डबल कोइन्सिडेन्स अफ वान्ट भनेको एउटा गाई छ, किन्नुपर्ने के छ? अलिकति थोरै 1 केजी नुन र 1 केजी चिनी दिने छ. के गर्ने अब? कान काटेर दिने? हेर कस्तो गाह्रो हुन्छ त्यो बाटर सिस्टममा. एब्सेन्स अफ कमन मेजर अफ भ्यालु, यो पनि गाह्रो हुन्छ फेरि. ल्याक अफ डिभिजिबिलिटी, टुक्राउन मिल्दैन कि. अहिले त हेर त हाम्रो 1000 को नोटलाई $1 बनाउन मिल्छ, 5 को पनि बनाउन मिल्छ, 10 को पनि बनाउन मिल्छ, 50 को पनि मिल्छ, 20 को पनि मिल्छ, 100 पनि मिल्छ, 500 दुईटा बनाउन पनि मिल्छ. र नबनाइकन 100 बनाउन मिल्छ. यो भनेको डिभिजिबिलिटी हो कि. तर गाईको के हुन्छ? डिभिजिबिलिटी हुन्छ, काट्नु पर्यो, खुट्टा काट्न मिल्छ, मिल्दैन, यस्तो खालको गाह्रो छ. द प्रब्लम अफ स्टोरिङ वेल्थ, वास्तवमा अब स्टोर गर्न गाह्रो के. ब्याङ्कमा राखे जस्तै राखिदिने हुँदैन, मऱ्यो भने फेरि अर्को तनावेर. त्यसैले यस्तो खालको प्रब्लमहरू हुन्छ क्या. डिफिकल्ट अफ डिफर्ड पेमेन्टको कुराहरू भयो, प्रब्लम अफ ट्रान्सपोर्टेसनको कुराहरू भयो होइन. दिज आर द केसेस के. यस्तोलाई नै हामी के भन्छ भन्दाखेरि डेफिनेसन एन्ड फङ्सन अफ मनीको बाटर सिस्टम अन्डर दिस टपिक होइन, डिफिकल्टिज अफ बाटर सिस्टम हुन्छ. सबैजनाले हेर त ल पहिला एडभान्टेजेस अफ बाटर सिस्टम लेखिदियो के हुने रहेछ सबैजनाले मलाई यहाँ चाहिँ नि यो चारवटा हेर त यो 1 2 तलपट्टि दुईटा सिप यो एडभान्टेजेस हो मैले हटाइदिएँ है मलाई टेक्स्ट गरेर त कसले थाहा पाउँदो रहेछ ल हेरौँ What are the advantages of barter system, please?
सो एक्सचेन्ज गर्ने एउटै मिडियम भयो भने चाहिँ के अरे बल्ल सजिलो हुन्छ भनौँ न के अरे दुइटै पार्टिजले अथवा एभ्री पार्टी जोसँग ट्रेड गर्न लागेको जुन चाहिँ एउटा मिडियम त्यो हो भने चाहिँ जसले जे खोजिरहेछ त्यही मात्र पाउने भयो
तर त्यही त वान्ट्सहरूको जस्तो तिमीले भनेको बुझेँ मैले तिमीसँग नुन छ तर तिमीलाई गाई चाहिएको छ मलाई चाहिँ नुन चाहिनु पर्यो के यो वान्ट्स आर ठ्याक्कै कोइन्साइड भयो भने नो प्रब्लम हो कि भन्नु ल
हजुर
तिमीसँग एक महिना एक के भन्छ 1 केजी जति पिठो छ मसित 1 केजी जति चामल छ त तिमीलाई चामल चाहिएको छ मलाई पिठो चाहिएको छ अब के भयो
अनि जब प्रड्युसर छ प्रड्युसरको मोनोपोली छ भने अब चाहिँ अब त्यसले चाहिँ के अरे नेगोसिएट गर्नलाई चाहिँ उसलाई स्पेस चाहिँ अलिकति बढी हुन्छ बाटर सिस्टममा
यस
अन्त के हुनु एडभान्टेजको कुराहरू होइन एडभान्टेजमा त्यही त हो मसँग अब मानौँ कुनै कन्ट्री अब इन्डियासँग हाम्रो सबै इम्पोर्ट भइरहेछ नि त इन्डियाले जति प्राइस हाइक गरे पनि अब हामी जसरी किन्नै पर्छ भनेपछि वान अफ द बाटर सिस्टम त्यसरी पनि कन्सिडर गर्न सक्यो
तर त्यो भएन इन्डियाले चाहिँ हामीलाई के दियो हामीले पनि इन्डियालाई अर्को गुड्स नै दियो भने चाहिँ बाटो सिस्टम भयो कि तर हामी इन्डियाबाट चाहिँ सामान लिएर पैसा तिर्ने हामीले पनि त्यहाँबाट
यदि बाटो सिस्टम भएको भए अब इन्डियाको सबै इम्पोर्ट त उताबाट हुन्थ्यो सबै कतिपय कुराहरू उनीहरूले चाहिँ त्यसरी भन्न खोजे
हो यस 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 यु आर राइट यस है त्यो खालको कन्डिसन्सहरू हुन्छ अनि हामीसँग किन्ने नि लिने नि केही हुने थिएन नि त किनभने बाटोमा त हामीले पनि गुड्स दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ नि त त्यही भएर ओके ल अब हेर त यो डिफिकल्टी चाहिँ एकपल्ट गो थ्रु द स्लाइड्स यो डिफिकल्टी सर र पढ त के रहेछ रिमेम्बर अल द के भन्छ डिफिकल्टिज अफ बाटर सिस्टम पढ्थ्यो ल के छ हेऱ्यो ल मलाई टेक्स्ट गर न टेक्स्ट है मैले हटाइदिएँ अब टेक्स्ट चाहिँ गर त ल हेरौँ के रहेछ त डिफिकल्टिज अफ बाटर सिस्टम के थियो ल भन्नु खै त टेक्स्ट गरे डिफिकल्टिज अफ बाटर सिस्टम ल यहाँ म फेरि देखाइदिएँ एकपल्ट ल 6वटा छ अब टेक्स्ट गर त ल के रहेछ टेक्स्ट भयो भने सबैले देख्छ डिस्कसन हुन्छ क्या ल एकपल्ट हेरौँ न टाइप गर न थोरै कति अल्छी गरे कि तिमीहरू ओके ल तिमीहरू अल्छी गर्यो अब यसो गरौँ त है यसलाई हामी त्यसो भने नेक्स्ट डेको क्लासदेखि सुरु गरौँला नि त हुँदैन के बेकार आवेशमा आउँछ र है हामी इभोल्युसन कहाँबाट सुरु भयो हाम्रो पैसाको सबै कुराहरू हामी यहाँबाट हुन्छ सबैजनाले स्लाइड पढेर आऊ है हुन्छ कि हुँदैन
ओके सर
ओके ल ल त्यसो भने थ्याङ्क यू सो मच थ्याङ्क यू अल थ्याङ्क यू हेर टेक केयर बाई है त सबैजनाले ल बाई गाइज
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning. How are you all?
Great, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good too. Great. So let's move to the attendance. Alex,
Yes, ma'am.
Archana,
Present, ma'am.
Asish, Dipesh, Even, Jeju,
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I'm
Marina.
also present. Even.
Okay, all right. Even is there. Marina, Ninju,
Yes, ma'am.
Nishan, Ojaswi,
Present, ma'am.
Prakriti, Prashamsha, Praveen, Praveen,
Present, ma'am.
Raman, Ratna, Ratna,
Present, ma'am.
Rebison,
Present, ma'am.
Ritesh,
Present, ma'am.
Riwaz, Ronim, Sacham,
Yes, ma'am.
Salina, Sarishma,
Yes, ma'am.
Shekhar, Shekhar, are you there?
Ma'am, I'm also present.
All right, that's okay, Salina. I'll mark you present. Yes, Shekhar, if you are there, please stay
Shaker has
after class
texted.
for a while. Yes, like I believe he is there. So, Shekhar, please stay a while after we finish the class. I need to discuss something regarding your assignment. Okay. All right. Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Swaroop,
Yes, ma'am.
Eunish. Okay, not there. Did anybody miss their attendance?
Ma'am, Dipesh.
Dipesh. All right. Anybody else? Okay, I guess that's it. Now we'll be moving on. Yes, Ashish too. Okay. So we'll be moving on with business writing. So do you remember what we did in the last class? Anybody who remembers? What did we study or what did we discuss on in the last class? Do you remember business writing processes and strategies? Right? We went through the process, how business writing or any normal writing goes through. What are the process we need to follow? What are the steps, right? So basically there were pre-writing, planning, drafting, revising, and proofreading. So we had discussed on that. And along with the process of business writing, we had also gone to the message types, right? And under message types, we had discussed on letters, emails, memos, and reports. So I believe you are clear regarding last class. Now today we'll be moving on with business writing, accentuating the positive, right? So can anyone tell me what accentuating means? What do you mean by accentuating? Any idea? You can search if you want. What is accentuating?
A point or
A point.
focus of a center of attention.
Center of attention, like you are concentrating only on that thing, right?
Mhm.
Of course, you're correct, Archana. Accentuating is just like, let's say, highlighting. Okay, when we have a piece of paper and we highlight something with a highlighter, as soon as we look at it, that particular word or that particular sentence comes to our eyes in the very beginning, right? So that is accentuating, highlighting things, all right? But in business writing, we cannot go on highlighting different pages or different text, right? We cannot highlight our writings or points which we give to our readers and audiences. We cannot use a highlighter there. So then how will we highlight the things we want them to know most? So that is relating, accentuating the positive. So how we can highlight is, the first thing is by removing all the negative words and bringing the positive words only. So what we need to do here is highlight the positive words, right? And after that, like just like I already mentioned, we can't use a highlighter there in our business writing. So we can highlight, we can still bring audiences and readers attraction to our writing or particular points by the formatting. How we set the paragraphs, do we divide it into pointers or not? Or do we keep the entire thing into one single paragraph? So it depends on that, right? How are we supposed to divide our writing? How are we supposed to structure our writing? So it's all on that. And just like we discussed in the last class, we discussed some of the things to consider while business writing, right? So on top of that, like one of the most important is remove all the negative words from your business writing. Keep only the positive words. Now, many a times you have positive news, good news. Let's say you have information about your products or something. That is normally good news. But sometimes you might have negative news too, negative information to give to your reader and audiences. Negative news here does not only mean death or accident. Negative news also can mean some kind of information which the audience or the reader, they do not want to listen at all. They do not want your information. For example, it might be sales messages. When we have sales messages, let's say we have so many emails. Well, I have so many emails like coming from Daraj. Well, I don't want those. They're sending me different descriptions of different products, giving so many discounts and this and that information. Usually people are irritated. People don't want those kinds of email, right? So those can also be considered negative news. But negative news, even though the negative news or information is there, they send it, right? But what happens here is we are not supposed to give the negative information with negative words. Even if we have negative news or negative information, what accentuating the positive tells us is to give the negative piece of information also in positive words. Okay. All right. So let's move on. You can see weakness and strength. Now, a business company or as a business person, you might have both weakness and strength, different weaknesses, different strengths, according to individuals, right? It differs from person to person. So what will you do if you have weakness? How can we eliminate the weakness? Or how can we eliminate the negative points from our business company or our business writing? How will we make it into a strength? Is how we change the words, how we play with words, how we structure our writing. Okay, even though we have a negative piece of information, we are supposed to use good words and make that negative information into a good sentence. So that is what we are going to go through today. Now let's just discuss something regarding the letters from last class. Okay, we had discussed letters too. And today's class will be focusing on the means what are the positive things you'll be writing in the body part. Okay, so before that, regarding letters from the last class, now here are some of these issues you need to pay attention to. Of course, we had discussed it in the last class, but here is something which will just highlight whatever we need to focus on. So the first one there is salutation. Respected sir, ma'am, or dear sir, madam. This is when we don't know who the person is, or there were other salutations too. Remember, there were so many different salutations we could choose from. If we had only the first name, or if we had only the last name, if we know the post, respected principal, or so. So there were different kinds of salutations, right? In number 2, there was date, missing in some letters. It is very important part of letter. So date is very important, remember that. Sometimes we might think that the body part is important. It is important, but when did we write that then? People need to know. If a person looks at a letter after 10 days and he doesn't know when you wrote the letter, it might be difficult. The piece of information might not come useful after 10 days. So the date is very important. Okay, and most of the time people or students usually tend to forget writing the date. So always remember to mention the date there in your letters. In number 3, make sure you correctly use of uppercase and lowercase. So capital letter and small letter. So where are you supposed to use capital and small letters? So usually we use capital letters at the very beginning, the first letter of any sentence, right? And there are use of capital letters in certain words, just like names, names of place, or the examples given here. There is department, airlines, Kathmandu, director, sir, and there are many other words which we need to keep an uppercase capital letter in the beginning as the initial letter, right? So you need to remember that. Now, even though like we tend to make mistakes when we write the body part, sometimes we write the first letter of the sentence small letter as we are going on writing and writing, and we are just focusing on writing and we don't care about these uppercase and lowercase. So always revise and try to see where you have made a mistake, because some companies or some business people, maybe your future business partner, they might be very directed towards these kinds of structures. They might see your mistakes, and that can be a turn off for you and your company, right? So we need to take care about uppercase and lowercase too. In number 4, pay attention with consistent form and formatting. Now, form and formatting, we have gone through these in letters already, right? Where do you need to keep the salutation? Where are you supposed to keep the subject? Where are you supposed to leave a line? Where are you supposed to keep the closure? And in the body part, do you change the paragraph? or do you not change the paragraph? How many paragraphs will you keep there? So all these comes under formatting, and it also matters a lot. Okay. In number 5, write correct grammar. That is obvious. Your grammar, your sentence structure must be clear and correct, understandable, right? Number 6, put your positive and neutral messages at first. And in bracket, it's given direct. So that is what we'll be discussing today. How to put our positive messages, or let's say neutral messages, where to put it. And if we have a negative message, where to keep the negative message in a letter. Okay. Because positive and negative messages are different. It gives different emotions and different feelings to people, such as positive message may provide happiness, while a negative message might provide sadness or kind of shock to a person. So we need to really pay attention to where we place our messages and where we give the information. Do we like directly not write any salutation and subject and directly write the message? Or do we follow a certain format to write the message? So these things are there. Okay. And in number 7, you can see, start your letter with clear message, topic at first, and writing supporting information in the next paragraph. So that is a very casual thing. We give the clear message or a topic sentence in the very beginning, and after writing the topic sentence, we give on the supporting information, that is the supporting data or analysis, explanation of that message or the topic sentence, right? So these things are some of the issues you need to pay attention while writing your letters. Now let's move ahead. Okay, here. Clarity is not the only business goal, is not the communication goal in business. Okay, so how many of you think this is true and how many of you think this is not true? Clarity is not the only communication goal. Is there anything else we need to focus rather than clarity only? Does your writing need to be only clear, or is there something else that we need to consider while writing also? Let's focus on letters for now. Yes, Archana?
Ma'am, the content of letter should be clear, no?
Yes, yes. So what this sentence means is, clarity is not the only communication goal in business. So in your business writing, we are talking about letters now. In your letters, there should be clarity. It should be clear. Whenever your reader or your audience reads the letter, everything must be understandable at once. But that's not the only thing that is important. Just like Archana mentioned, content is also there. If there is no content at all, what will only clarity do? What will the audience, what will the reader be clear about, right? So content is also there. But now go to the second line in this slide. We have human relation dimensions to consider while communicating. Now that is one important thing we need to think about while writing letters. Human relation dimensions means a different kind of relation you have with different people. Maybe you have one kind of relationship with your colleague. Maybe your colleague is like your friend. Maybe he or she is your best friend. Or a colleague might be your enemy too. You are competing. You might be competitors sometimes, right? Or there is a relation with the boss. You need to maintain a formal relation with your employer, with the CEO of the company. And there are relations with clients too. What kind of relation? A casual relation, for relation. So there are different kinds of people, different kinds of individuals. Your relation as a business person to these different individuals are different depending upon who you are communicating with, right? Just like let's, colleague. With your colleague is maybe that colleague is your best friend in real life. So how will your colleague respond to your letter? He or she will respond very quickly, promptly. Have an internet issue. Okay, so we were discussing regarding human relation dimensions, right? So I was telling you, what is your relation with your colleague? That matters. How will your colleague respond to you is what relation you have between each other. Is your colleague really friendly to you? Or is your colleague a kind of aggressive person? So it depends. And How he or she responds to your letter or email or any kind of information depends on how he or she treats you in real life too. Now let's say, let's take a client relation. Now you have to deal with a client, suppose. So what is the relation you have with your client? Are you comfortable with that client or not? Or is that client comfortable with you or not? That matters. If both of you are comfortable, you will be able to discuss everything clearly, everything properly, and make the deal maybe. Comfortable, you hesitate to ask questions or give information, there might be a problem, right? Or let's say if your client is a very new client to your company, a very new client, first time client, then at that time you will have to maintain all the formalities towards your client. But let's say the same client has been a client for past 25 years in your company. Then you don't have to maintain that much formality maybe. You can be casual to your client, right? So this is how it matters. You need to consider if anything is wrong in the relation between you and the other person you are communicating to. Do you need to tell that person something or not to remove any delay or remove anything which is wrong? So how you talk, it matters. What relation you build with that individual also matters, right? And in the last pointer, in the last line of this slide, people content versus information content. So what this means is what relation you have with people that matters, but what about the information you give to that people? What about the data and the message you share? So people and information, how you deal with people and how you deal with the information you give, both of that matters. Okay, so it means this. Now let's move on here. Now these are some of the points we will have to consider, we will have to remember while making our writing positive. Okay, so the first point here is building goodwill in writing. Okay, so building goodwill is to increase your goodwill. Okay, you will have to write accordingly. You cannot write just casually, or you cannot just write whatever you want. You need to write accordingly. You need to see whom you are writing to, who is your audience, who is your reader, and you need to maintain your level of formality accordingly. Okay, just like let's say, how much formal will you be to a particular client, or how much informal do you need to be? Again, it depends on the relation with your client or with your reader, right? When you're sending a business letter, just like the client who is very, very new, you need to maintain full formality with that client. But to that client who is already 25 years client or reader to your company, you might not have to be that much formal. You might be casual or semi-formal to that client, right? So we need to understand what level of formality we will use. And the level of formality differs from individual to individual, from one reader to the other reader when you send business letters. You can't send the same letter to everybody. Right? One thing is that, and the other one is avoid rubber stamp phrases. So can anybody tell me what rubber stamps are? What are rubber stamps? Do you know what rubber stamps are?
Do you mean to say seal stamp?
Yes, kind of. So what do they do?
The confidential के त्यो लेटरहरूलाई सिल लाउने हुन्छ नि त्यो के अरे to ensure that it is not has been broken. लाल छाप in Nepali.
So when you keep a rubber stamp once, yes, can you remove that? after it has done once?
No, ma'am.
Can it be removed? It cannot, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the rubber stamps are there, and it will not make any more changes now when the rubber stamp is already there. Or sometimes when you have official documents, when you go to different offices or different companies, they put stamps on papers and give you, right? So those things are there which cannot be removed once done. So rubber stamp phrases here in Goodwill means that something is done, okay, maybe like to officially, let's say, approve something, and without even thinking, because once you say okay, you cannot move back, you cannot deny what you have agreed. So let's say, let's take an example. Your boss makes a decision which is not good, okay, which is not good for the company maybe. So the boss makes the decision, but as an employee, what you do is, just to impress your boss, you say okay, you say, wow boss, whatever you are saying is correct. So that is a rubber stamp phrase. You don't question anything, you don't think and analyze, you don't try to understand the details. So those are known as rubber stamp phrases. You just officially approve any decision without even thinking. Now, let's say you might have a client, and the client might say, I need 10,000 computers by today evening. And you say, okay, I'll bring 10,000 computers by today evening. But before saying, you should have thought, how will you manage for 10,000 computers by this evening? How will you manage for the transportation? How will you do other things? How will you talk about the financial details with your client? So you don't think of any of those, and you just say okay. And then later on, you'll get into trouble. See? So here, what it means is avoid rubber stamp phrases. Don't just approve anything without thinking. Okay? So we must think before we react. So that means we must avoid rubber stamp phrases here. Okay? And the third point here is use you viewpoint instead of we. Now we have discussed this before also. You viewpoint means when you're talking to your reader or to your client as you, not we. You're using I. You're saying, I am very glad that you are here. You're not saying that we, our company is very glad that you are here. Or whenever you send letters to your readers, you're not saying like, dear all. Instead of dear all means everyone, right? It may be 10 people, maybe 100 people, or maybe 1,000 people. So when you say dear all, your reader might think that, oh, this letter is sent to all. This letter is sent to all the people, everyone. It's not only me. They're talking to everyone all at once. So I don't care. Others might reply. Why should I waste my time here? Other people will see. So your letter at that time might go ignored. But when you use, when you say or give a particular name of an individual, you might say, Dear Ram or Dear Jack. So you're giving their name. You're just trying to communicate with only that particular individual. You're focusing only on one client or one reader. So at that time, your reader will think that, see, this person, okay, this business person is directly trying to talk to me. He's only talking to me. So that person will be obliged to reply to you, to respond to you and communicate with you back. So using I and using we, that makes a huge difference. Which one do you want to use? Do you want to personalize your communication, or do you want to just generalize your communication? So it matters here, okay, while you're writing letters. Now, the next one here is accentuating the positive, means highlighting the positive words, right? Here, what we tell you is use positive words instead of negative words, even though your information might be a negative piece of information. So whatever you are trying to tell your client or reader, You need to bring positivity from everywhere. Just like convert a negative sentence into a positive sentence. See, now there are a few examples given here. Go to the first example, please. There is a cross mark in the first line, and in the second line, there is a tick mark. So, your car won't be fixed until next week. So, what does that mean? Your car won't be fixed until next week. Means that's a negative thing. Whenever someone hears this, oh, your car won't be fixed, okay, until next week, see? So that person will have a negative impact. That person will not be happy because his car will not be fixed until 2 weeks more, see? But the same sentence can be converted into a positive one. Same meaning, but just the change of words. The second line says, you can use your car next week. Now it's the same meaning, right? Your car won't be fixed until next week, and you can use your car next week. The meaning is the same. But when the person reads the second line, you can use your car next week. Means he might be happy. Oh, I'm so happy. I can use my car next week. See what he can do and what he cannot do. It means this. And we always encourage to use the second line, right? What you can do. Write it in a positive way. Of course, the message here is negative, that this person will only be able to use his car next week. But the way of writing makes the user happy, changes the mood of the reader. So in the first line, when the person reads, your car won't be fixed until next week, the mood becomes sad, the mood becomes angry maybe. But in the second line, you can use your car next week. The mood changes and becomes a happy one, right? Similarly, let's go to the second example there. I think that's a bad idea. So whenever somebody reads this, I think that's a bad idea, they focus you telling that, okay, bad idea. He or she told that my idea is bad. It's a negative piece of sentence, but the same thing can be converted now into a positive sentence. I don't think that's a good idea. Now the person highlights the last part here. Good idea. Okay, that person doesn't think my idea is that good. So it's the same meaning, just the change of words on how we can make negative sentences into positive. Okay, so changing negative words into positive, but here the meanings are the same, right? So that is how we can change it. Now the next one is positivity checklist. This is kind of similar to accentuating the positive, changing negative sentences into positive. But here you have to state what you can do instead of what you can't. Now there's an example. I am busy, so I can't reply you until tomorrow. So what you're saying here is, I'm busy, so I can't reply. Means you're saying what you can't do. I can't reply. So the reader might think that, oh, this person can't reply. Means this person can't do anything. This person is not good for anything, can't do anything, like we cannot believe him. So your reader might think that and assume that you cannot do anything. So that is why we are not supposed to say what we can't do. Okay, so never say what you cannot do, because that will put a negative impact on your reader. Now instead of that, say what you can do. The second line there, I will reply your email tomorrow at 4 p.m. Now it's the same thing. Until tomorrow means tomorrow 4 p.m. Again the same thing, but you are writing there what you can do. I will reply means, see, I am doing this for you. You're trying to say that. Instead of saying that, no, I can't. I can do this, but at this time by tomorrow. So again, you're trying to bring out positivity there. So if you say you can't do something, they will think that you can't do anything. And then your business company or you as a business person, you might have troubles, difficulties, right? But here, when you say something you can do, the entire thing, the entire concept changes, right? Now below there are two sentences. The red one the red first short paragraph, let's say 2 sentences, they are negative, and the blue one, they are positive, changed into can do. The first one is cannot do, the second one is can do, and they mean the same, they have the same meaning. Okay, so can anybody please volunteer to read these 2 sentences for the class? Can anybody please read this?
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, please do, Archana.
We regret to inform you that we cannot permit you to use our garden and swimming pool, as XYZ asked for it first. However, we can let you use our conference room, but it seats only 45. Next sentence. Although the XYZ has reserved the garden and the swimming pool for this Saturday, we can offer you conference room which seats 45.
Okay, thank you, Archana. So what this person is telling in this red lines are, we regret to inform you that we cannot permit you. See, he's saying cannot do. He cannot give you his garden and swimming pool. But he can give you the conference room. But there is again a problem in the conference room. Only 45 people can be accumulated. So he is telling everything in a negative way. He cannot give you garden, he cannot give you the swimming pool, and the conference room can only accumulate 45 people. See? So it provides a negative impact on the reader. But the same thing in the blue line, he has said that although this company has reserved the garden and swimming pool, we can offer you our conference room with seats 45, means 45 people. We can offer you, see, he's doing something for you. He's showing that he's being generous towards you. He's kind of making changes for you. So how you write matters. See, the first sentence was kind of negative. He cannot do this, he cannot give you this. But in the second, although these things are happening, I am doing this for you, right? So these are things which we need to consider while we write, so that we create a positive impact on our reader and clients. Now the next one here, be courteous and avoid blame, means never blame your reader for something. Okay, instead try to focus on solutions. Maybe when you have different kinds of relation or different deals with other companies, other business companies and organizations, there might be let's say transactions of documents, files, information, and at those times you might require some document, you might require some information, and if that company does not give you the information, you must not blame them that you didn't give me the information, that is why I couldn't do this. You didn't provide us the data, so we couldn't give you the report. See, you're not supposed to say that. Instead, even though they did a mistake, okay, they didn't give you the data or information, you can say it in a polite way, in a humble way. You can make them realize that they didn't give you the information. So here are some examples here below. You neglected to include some information in your request, so I maybe didn't complete this work. Instead of that, you write, to complete your request, I will need this and this report, right? The second example there, you did not provide proper size and color while ordering. See, you're blaming the reader. You're blaming your client that you did not provide me proper size and color while ordering. But instead of that, you can see there was information gap on size and coloring. Now again, the meanings are the same, right? Whatever you are trying to say is the same, but the way you wrote and the way you are giving the information to your reader, that matters. That there is a difference there. And the second one, the green ticked one, that makes a positive impact, right? So never say that because my reader, you didn't do this, I will not be doing something else, right? Instead, change it into a positive way, right? And be courteous is be humble. Don't be aggressive or don't make yourself bad in front of your reader. So the next one, more to be courteous, something else like here, refrain from being a preacher. Avoid you should, you must, like preaching phrases. So now when you say that you should send me the report, you must give me the information, you must finish the let's say report by today. So when you're saying you should do this, you must do this, it feels as if you are ordering somebody, as if you are giving instructions. And nobody likes to be ordered, nobody likes to let's say be instructed harshly, right? So instead of saying that you should send me the report, you can say I would like to receive this report. So again, you're saying the same thing, but the change of words are there, right? Instead of ordering, you are requesting that I'd like to receive this report, right? And the other point here is do more than is expected or promised. So whenever you're dealing with your clients or your reader and you're sending them emails and letters, try to make them happy, okay? Try to be humble, try to give them more. Try to give your readers more than they have expected. Make them more happy than they had expected from you and your company, of course. And the next one is be sincere. Do not exaggerate. Do not overdo the goodwill techniques. So, do not exaggerate and be sincere can be like don't tell your client or reader more things than, or let's say, like if the client orders 10,000 computers, don't exaggerate and say that, okay, I will get 10,000 computers for you by today. You cannot do that. So, in the process of trying to impress your reader, don't try to bring yourself trouble, right? And do not overdo the goodwill techniques. Stay in your limitations. Be courteous, be humble, follow all the rules, consider all the points, but don't overdo it, right? So, these were some of the points we needed to consider. Now, let's move on to business writing and approaches. So there are two types of writing approaches. Okay, one is direct plan of writing, another is indirect plan of writing. So direct plan of writing and indirect plan of writing have two different kind of news or information in them. That is good news and bad news. Direct plan of writing usually has good news and indirect plan of writing has bad news. So, two types of writing approaches, that is direct and indirect, and two types of news, that is good news and bad news. Right? So now let's move on to direct plan of writing first. Now here you can see direct plan of writing, they are used for positive messages, to give neutral or casual kind of messages, neutral letters for good information, for good news, right? And these kind of good news can be dealt immediately. Whenever you have good news or good news letters, you read the letter and you become happy. The reader becomes happy. The reader does not go into a shock. Okay, those are known as good news. So some examples of good news are like it's also mentioned here. Good news letters or neutral letters are information seeking, placing orders, claim letters, or let's say request letters. Maybe you have an appointment letter that you have been appointed to this and this post. You have been selected for this job. That is a good news letter, right? And then for reservations, whenever you reserve for something and then your reservation is done and they send you a letter, that is also good news letter. And request information about any products. Some company is sending you a request letter that please send us this and this product from your company. That is also good news, good information, right? So whichever brings kind of neutral or happy emotion in you, that is positive or good news. And good news letters, they are written in the direct writing approach, direct plan of writing. Okay, so direct plan of writing has a different format of writing. When you are supposed to write good news letters or give good information, you have to follow a certain format, because good information makes people happy. So when you are writing this information, you would want to make people happy all of a sudden as soon as they start reading the letter. Okay, so let me show you here. They can be divided into 3 paragraphs. Now these paragraphs are the body paragraphs of the letter. Okay, so there is the main idea. So in good news, direct plan of writing, you give the main idea first. You say what the good news is. Maybe like you're giving like increasing 10% of your employees' salary. So you say the good news in the main idea in the first paragraph, that you have been a very good employee, so we are increasing your salary by 10%. You are directly giving the message, and that's a good message, so that person will obviously be happy, right? Now after that, in the second paragraph, you come and explain why you increased the salary. You give reasons, and you say that maybe like you have been working for these many years and we have seen your progress. We want more progress. We wish you this and this. So you explain and give reasons in the second paragraph. And in the third paragraph, appropriate friendly closing. So you say, we hope you work with us for decades more, right? We hope more progress from you, more sales from you. We hope for the benefit of the company from you, from your side. So these things are written in appropriate friendly closing, right? So direct plan of writing is divided into 3 paragraphs usually, but not necessary that always you'll have 3 paragraphs only in direct plan of writing. Sometimes like the information may be more. You might have to include points. You might have to give more data. So at that times, like the paragraphs or the sentences might be increased or decreased accordingly. All right. Now let's go to indirect writing. So indirect writing is kind of opposite to direct plan of writing. And under indirect plan of writing, we have bad news. So bad news, I had mentioned before also, bad news is not only death of somebody or accident of somebody. There might be other news too in business, right? Just like, let's say, you didn't get selected for a job and you have a letter that you didn't get selected. That is also bad news. Rejection from a job application. Refusal of claim. You claimed for something but you got refused. That is also bad news. Demotion. If you have a demotion in your company, that is also bad news, right? So whenever we have some bad news here, some bad news or bad letter, we cannot directly write it in the very first line. Just like in direct plan of writing, we gave the good information in the very first line of the letter. But in indirect writing, it's bad news. If we give the bad information in the very first line, the reader might get shocked. The reader might have negative emotions, negative feelings, right? He might be deeply shocked. So that is why we cannot give the bad information in the very first line. Do something else. So that is why the main idea, that is the bad information, is stated in the third or last graph in the bad news, as bad news. Okay. So here we do not give the news or the bad information in the very first, just like in direct plan. In indirect plan, we give in third or last paragraph. So usually in indirect writing, we have 4 paragraphs here. You can see here 4 paragraphs of indirect writing. Open with a buffer, explanation, bad news, alternatives, and appropriate friendly closing. So what happens here is open with a buffer. So don't directly give the bad news. First, give some scenario. Talk about the environment. Talk about the situation going on. Then in the second paragraph, explain. explain whatever you are about to say in this letter. And coming to the third paragraph, then only give the bad information. Because when your reader in this indirect plan of writing has already read the first and second paragraph, that person will have understood, oh, something bad is here in this letter. See, they are writing these and these things. So in the first and second paragraph, by giving the scenario and by explaining certain things, you are reducing the shock of the reader. Because if you give the bad news all of a sudden, that person might be deeply shocked, right? So that's why we do that only in the third paragraph. And after that, we come to the alternative and appropriate friendly clues. Now you have given the bad news, bad information. So what after that? You can't just say, okay, you give a bad information, now bye. You can't do that. Instead, this is bad information, but we have a solution also. So you give a solution. In the fourth paragraph, if you have some alternatives or solution, you provide that and you give a friendly clause that we really hope to working with you in the future and these kinds of things, right? So in indirect plan of writing also, it's not necessary that you have only 4 paragraphs like this. With the necessary information, with the necessary data, you can change the number of paragraphs. It might be 2 or 3, or if you have more information, it might be 5 or 6 paragraphs too. So it depends on the nature of the letter, what message you want to give to the receiver, to your reader. Okay, so let me give you one example of indirect writing. So based on these 4 paragraphs. Okay, so we are having this lockdown, COVID-19 pandemic, right? So in your company, maybe your company is facing a loss, let's say, and you are planning to just lay off some of the employees. You're planning to tell some of the employees to leave. So how would you say that? You are sending a letter to all the employees. So in the first paragraph, you cannot just say that you are fired. You can't say that. If you say that, it's a bad information. That person might go into shock. It might create negative feelings, negative impact on the reader. So instead, you might say, you just might explain the scenario of the world, the scenario of our country. You might say that the lockdown is going on. Everybody is having a very difficult time. So these things will be explained in the first paragraph. Then going on to the next paragraph, that is explanation, we will explain now what we are about to say. We will give some highlights and backgrounds. So we might say that we might describe about the state of our company or what is happening to our company, right? Due to COVID-19, the sales of our company is decreasing, the revenue is decreasing, and we are running in loss from the past 5 to 6 months. So you are giving reasons, you are explaining what bad is happening. And by this time, your reader will have known, oh, see, the company's sales are decreasing. The company is in loss from the past 5 months. That person will already have an impact of these things. And after that, in the third paragraph, now we will give the bad news. Now we might say that, so like we have decided to lay off a few employees, and unfortunately, you are also included. See? So we are not giving this bad news in the very first. We give all the background, all the highlights, and only then we tell that, unfortunately, your name is also one of them who are going to get company. So now you have given the bad news, but you can't just give the bad news and finish the letter now. We have to write something else too. So what we do is we go to the fourth paragraph and we try to give some alternatives. The bad news is that like he has to leave the company, right? He can't work in the company anymore. But what else can he do then? You give solutions. Maybe you say that, look, okay, I know that you are a very hardworking person, right? But as we recover, as our company recovers from this COVID-19 phase, I'd like you to rejoin our company. Or if not, I can recommend your name to any other company and make a friendly close. Hope to stay in touch. So these things closes the letter, and then your letter of indirect writing will be ready. All right. So did you understand direct plan of writing and indirect plan of writing, how these things work? These are different types of information we need to give. In direct plan, we need to give good information and we can give it directly. We can directly state the message there, right? But in indirect writing, we cannot do that. We cannot give the bad information all of a sudden. So let me show you a few examples here. Okay, this one. Archana, can you please read this for us?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Dear Mr. ABC, thank you for writing to us. Bata Shoes has always tried to give value to its customers. Bata Shoes is renowned because of zero compromise on quality and policy. Our policies are made to maintain high standards in market. The refund policy of our company says that the purchased item should be returned mm, within a period of 10 days from the date of purchase in unspoiled condition, whereas you have uh, contacted us after a month. In the light abo- of the above, we feel sorry to inform you that we are unable to refund your money. However, uh, we can exchange your item at out at out newly at out newly.
It must have been at our newly. There
Okay,
is a there.
at our newly opened outlet at Johar Colony, where 30% discount is currently being offered on all available items. We look forward to have a good relationship with you. Yours truly, XYZ Customer Care Officer.
Okay. Thank you, Archana. So what kind of letter is this? This is an indirect plan of writing, right? Because this gives some negative information. And the negative information is that this Bata Shoes company, they cannot refund this person's money. This person had bought a pair of Bata shoes, but he wants to change it, he wants to give it back and get his money. But now they are saying that no, we're sorry, we can't refund your money. So here, this example, this letter is directly divided into 4 paragraphs here. The first one, buffer, explanation, then bad news and alternative. So here in the buffer was just explaining the scenario, right? So what this person has written, this wrote is, Bata Shoes has always given value to its customers. So he's giving a scenario of Bata Shoes. Then after that, he goes to explanation. He tries to explain what he's going to write in the coming paragraphs. He tries to give reasons, right? So he writes that Bata Shoes is renowned because of its zero compromise on quality and policies. And he mentions that one of our policies is that you must return the purchase item within 10 days if you want to exchange or if you want a refund. But he mentions that you have contacted us after a month. You should have contacted 10 days. So he's stating it clearly. He's explaining the situation, right? After explaining the situation, he goes to the bad news in the third paragraph. That is, in the light of the above, we feel sorry to inform you that we are unable to refund your money. Now that is the bad information here. Your money cannot be returned. Now, but he cannot say that, okay, we will not return your money. Bye-bye. No, we can't say that. We have to give some alternatives. give a friendly closing, right? So in the fourth paragraph, he mentions, however, we can do something. Even though we cannot refund your money, we can do something for you. There is a new outlet of our Bata shoes where you can go and exchange your item. See, you cannot get your money back, but at least you can exchange your item at that store, at that outlet. And on top of exchanging, you have 30% discount too on all the items which are available there. So he's giving a solution to what the person can do. Okay, and we look forward to have a good relationship with you. So this is a perfect example for indirect plan of writing. There is the buffer, the scenario, the background given, then the explanation, the reasoning and all the situation explained. Then in third paragraph, the bad news, bad information is stated. After that, the person gives the alternative and a good closing, right? So this is one indirect plan of writing. Now, here. Now let me show you this. Okay, can somebody read this? Dipesh, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Dipesh, can you please read the body part of this letter? Only the body part.
I have read from this. I received our request due your requested date July. Our members had undeprived children will allow to we will allow the fishing tournament. I hope all
Okay, I think like Dipesh is
ma'am
having
into
internet issues. So let me read this out again. Okay. I have received your request dated July 14 to use our lake for our annual fishing tournament. So the person is saying, I have received your request. Okay. He's not saying that I approve your request or I deny your request. He's just saying, I have received your request. See? So again, not clear, right? He's just saying that I have received, not giving a fixed answer here. And moving on to the second paragraph, our members are glad that your organization wants to host a fishing tournament for underprivileged children. We will allow the fishing tournament. Now he's allowing here in the second paragraph, but he's not giving any more details. From what time to what time will the fishing tournament be? What are the other details they need to just think about? How will they protect the children in the fishing tournament? Will they give life jackets or not? Right? Of course, he's saying he allows, but he's not giving other details. Okay. And in the third paragraph, I hope you organize the tournament so that no child is injured while fishing. Now, this is a good sentence. He's saying that I really hope that no child is injured. He's trying to take care of the children. But he's not saying that our hotel, okay, our club will also do something for the fishing tournament. He's not mentioning that. So this becomes an inappropriate clause, right? This is a direct plan of writing. It's giving good news, but it's a poor writing, poor kind of writing, because all the information which are required, they are not included here, right? So in the same thing, in the same meaning, the same kind of information, let's go to another letter. Okay, here. Okay, even, can you read this out, please? Even, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please read the body part of this letter for us?
You may hold a fishing tournament for the underprivileged children at our Treasure Lake facility on August 25. This event should be exciting one for the children. Our resident manager, Owen Cave, will open the gate at 7 a.m. and close them at 9 p.m. The day of the day of your event, he will also be available throughout the day to answer any questions you may have. His office is in the lodge. The enclosed liability release should be completed, signed, and left with the Owen the day of the event. The docks at the lake will accommodate 25 children and 5 adults. Everyone must wear a life jacket while on the docks. You will find an assortment of life jackets and rod and reel sets in the storage shed. Besides the lodge, the cooler in the shed is for bait. Keep whatever perishable foods you bring for meals and snacks in the lodge refrigerator. You will not be charged for use of the faculty. We ask only that you treat the building and grounds with respect and leave them as clean as you find them. Trash containers are located behind the lodge. Teresa, you and the children should have an enjoyable day. If you need additional information about our facility, please call Owen Cave at 555 5219.
Okay, thank you very much, Even. So this is the same information as the previous letter. So in the previous letter, all the information required was not included by the writer. But here, this writer has given all the information. He has said that, yes, we approve. Please come for your fishing tournament, right? You can hold your fishing tournament here. And then he gives other details too. The gates will be open at this time, the gates will be closed at this time. So please come within this time. And the lake will accommodate these many people here, these 25 children and 5 adults. And everyone must wear a life jacket, he's saying. And he also mentions you will find the life jacket and rods and whatever necessary for the fishing tournament at this point, at this corner of the club. Please go and find it there. And if you bring some foods, a refrigerator will also be there. You can use that, right? And then he also mentions that please keep the grounds clean. Do this. If you have any information required or if you need something on that day, please call in this number to this person. So he gives all the information in this good news in direct plan of writing, right? So this was it. Now here, let me show you one more. Let me read this for you. It's mentioned in red. The description are in red. That means something is wrong here in this, right? So the subject is subscription cancellation. 6 months ago, I subscribed to your magazine and paid for the entire period. I have received only 2 copies in the 6-month period. I want my money back for the subscription. Send the money quickly. So what is happening here? Is this a good letter? Is this a good letter? If you were the reader of this letter, would you feel good? Not exactly, right? Because the person here, first of all, he is not giving full details. What is his subscription number? Where did he pay the money? How much money did he pay? On which date did he pay the money? And he received only 2 copies within 6 months. So, what were the dates that he received the 2 copies? And send the money quickly. So where to send the money then? How to send the money? You need to give your details. And he's not even being humble. He's very demanding, very aggressively writing here, right? So this is a kind of indirect plan of writing. It gives negative information, bad information, that give me my money back. I don't want your subscription anymore. Gives indirect, this is indirect plan of writing, gives negative news, but it's not written in a proper way. it doesn't follow the steps of indirect plan of writing, right? So this is not a good piece of writing, but here we have a reply for this letter. Okay, this letter was sent to business publication by one of their clients, one of the customers. Now business publication, they reply, they give a response letter to that letter. Okay, so can somebody read this for me? Shekhar, can you read this for us? Okay, I guess Shekhar is not there. Smith, are you there? Smith, can you please read the body part of this letter? Okay, he got disconnected. Anybody else who would want to read this? Yes, Smith, are you there? Okay, I guess he's not there. Let me just give you a brief description of this letter. Okay, this is the respond. Now, what this person, what this business publication writes is, okay, he's there. Okay, Smith, are you there? Are you back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you please read the body part?
Enclosed is your $158.50 refund check for the professional in business magazine subscription. Because your continued business is important to us, we have carefully examined the handling of your subscription. The zip code on your mailing label shows 77,401 instead of 74,701. We have corrected our mailing list. Mr. Edward, please accept a 3-month free subscription to professionals in business and give us an opportunity to show you that the magazine will reach you in a timely manner. If you are satisfied at the end of the 3 month trial period, you may subscribe to Professionals in Business for 3 years at half price, $79.25. You should receive your first free copy of Professional in Business next week. The lead article, Investing in Yourself, is especially interesting.
Okay, thank you very much, Smith. So this is a response to the previous letter where the person was asking for his money back, and this business publication company, now they write a response, right? And they give a good kind of information to him, right? So here in the first paragraph, what they write is enclosed is your this and this money refund check. Because the person had asked for a refund, you hadn't provided me the magazines for 6 months, so give me back my money. So they have said, take your money, here is your money. But you can't just say that take your money, and you can't tell your client that now we have given back your money, we don't want any relation with you anymore. We can't say that. So that is why now he gives other information. Because your continued business is important to us. Now from this phrase, this business company, publication company is trying to tell this person that you as a client, you are very, very important to us. Your presence is important to our company. See? So they are trying to state his importance for them. And then they mentioned that your mailing label showed 77401 instead of this number. So there was a mistake in our record. So that is why your subscription, there was some error, some delay, right? So please forgive us because of this mistake. And we have corrected our mailing list, means we have corrected the mistake. So after that, it's not only enough that saying that we have corrected your mistake. So you need to say something else so that that particular client will be with you, will not leave your company and go, will not subscribe from you anymore. So you need to do something to retain his subscription. So what they write is, please accept a 3-month free subscription. Now he's saying, for 3 months, we will give you free magazines. See, please accept. We apologize and we are trying to recover for this apology. Like take a 3-month free subscription. So, but after that, please continue a subscription for $79.25. See, they're saying we'll give you 3 months free, but after that, please subscribe. Okay. And in the last paragraph, he says you should receive your first free copy by next week. So whenever any reader reads that you will receive your first free copy, 3 months free subscription, everybody might get excited. They might say, okay, this company is giving me free subscription, then why not? And they will go on to subscribe again, right? So this is how business publication company replied to that letter, and this is a good writing, right? They have written everything in a proper formatting and in a proper way. They have put their information in a proper manner. So this is regarding today's class, writing approaches, direct writing and indirect writing, right? And we also discussed on accentuating the positive, how we can make our letters positive even though our messages might be negative, right? So we're almost at the end of today's class. Let me go to the attendance once more. Nishan, okay, Nishan is there. Prakriti, was she here today?
Yes, ma'am. She
She was,
was.
right? Okay, thank you. Rivaz, was Rivaz here? Yunesh is here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So only Rivaz. Are you all sure he was not here, right?